all mentioned the rave culture, all of you guys, and you also mentioned the kind of like making things like back at the time, organization-wise. And I was wondering your thoughts on that. Like, what's the heritage and how is it evolving? And
I actually don't want to. Can you repeat, please? How is the rave culture evolving since which?
Like
since when?
Since I don't know, like
since
your
5 years, 7 years, 10 years, 15 years. When did we start? I don't know. It's actually funny because when I arrived to London, just focus in the London market, and because I work 10 years in the Portuguese market, and it's a totally other approach that actually make me look to the London market and make it look easier. That was easier for me to work, but it's also very hard. Actually, when I arrived, Bruno was just starting. I was taking my eyes on Bruno because I'm a little bit like Bruno. I see everything that what other guys are doing. I don't take the notes of what they're doing wrong and good, but they keep it on my mind. And Bruno was coming up, Fuse was working really well at the moment as well. And I remember Cabral was one of the biggest points in the after parties where Jaded was really high. And in the moment Jaded is a Sunday party of a techno, the reputation is still from back in the past. The club scenes and after party, I'm not too sure exactly how is the numbers. The progress in between, these days we had Cartool is still working on a market and going strong. And in sound-wise, there was, I think, a evolution for the electro and the acid things, while between electro and acid that back in the days when I was around, at least I didn't have access. So the techno thing, I think it became stable, and now with the guys from Fold, I think it's gonna achieve other levels. Well, when we're speaking about in the underground, because there will always been big events of techno around London with Ben Clock or in Fabric, but I think in terms of the underground scene, the techno now, with these guys on the market, are getting a new game changing. And I'm not sure exactly what could I had here, maybe Bruno will complete.
So you think it's not static, it keeps on evolving and you can see new innovation happening in the underground scene?
For me, it's singing innovation is complicated because I've been doing this since when I was 15 years old. So what I see sometimes is the old things coming back again. And I've been listening this since I'm a kid, and I didn't understand when I was young. And I was saying, no, this is not coming back again. Come on, this is And everyone, all the persons that I was following, and they were teaching me when I was a kid, and nervous like Bruno sometimes, and I think I knew it everything already when I was 18 and 20, and my friends said, you're gonna see what's happening. And actually now what I see is a lot of the last styles of music coming back again, and they really seems like with a little touches of new approaches or new producers, because there is another new instruments to make music, there is new softwares, new platforms to be spreaded. But yeah, in a way, I think that the music scene is turning around. So there is an evolution, but what I see the evolution is more on the crowd. Some of them are more educated, they have more access to the music, and there is a little bit more ramifications between the music styles, because back in the days was techno or house or drum and bass, and nowadays there is a lot of things in between, if I can make it clear on this area. Do you want to add something on this?
You are the youngest one? Yes. There's a lot of things to say, I guess. But I mean, in the past, clubs or events, they weren't really just kind of one kind of music, like, Second Summer of Love, late 80s, early 90s. There was a lot of harder music in one room, softer in the other, and then you have like ambient in another room. That doesn't really happen that much these days. It's kind of a shame in a way to see that, because I think there is a bit of a demand to have the difference. It's nice to, I don't know, go hard for a bit and then chill for another half an hour or whatever, how you want to do it. But it's nice to give people options. But I think there's maybe like less innovation in clubs these days. I think club culture isn't actually that great at the moment, especially in London. I think people forget that London is actually quite a conservative city, and we have to work quite hard to actually get things the way if we want to party the way we want to, it's really hard to do in a club in London. which is why I think there's such a big like counterculture at the moment, because there's so many clubs closing down. You know, price of living is much worse. People are going to warehouse parties because they're just cheaper. They're much more fun because they're much more free. They're much more like LGBT friendly.
But yeah, there is this kind of duality in London, because you see the mayor of London putting the night tubes and then like putting a night star in place and like doing all those things to kind of put the nightlife alive again. But on the other hand, you have very like big restriction. How do you personally work around that as venue owners?
Well, at Foles, we have to jump through a lot of hoops, which is, I mean, it's great that they've given us a 24-hour license. I think that's a really progressive move. I think that's really cool. But I think we're quite lucky. I really hope that we can start a sort of revolution, as it were, for other clubs to maintain the same sort of ideals that we have and can operate like we do, because that would be really cool. That'd be really great. But I'm not sure if something needs to happen culturally as a whole for that to for clubs to change entirely. But yeah, I mean, do you have anything to add?
As with most things, it's like we just go through cycles, and I just feel that we're going through the similar things, what's happened 15 years ago or 20 years ago, depending on, you know, where the origin, where it comes from. A lot of the rave music was obviously UK based, so I feel like other countries are actually capitalizing on that, because we've heard so much of it, and you can find so much of it here, digging or going to other parts outside of London. You go up to Manchester or Birmingham, you're going to find a lot of kind of old records. Well, anywhere really, you've got online as well. But yeah, I just feel that there isn't enough innovation at the moment to actually, or the right intentions. People are opening up venues for the wrong reasons, just as a business, because or opening bars and club or whatever it is, just to kind of make ends meet. But yeah, I think it's coming through strong, and it's going to keep going. It's linked in with other industries as well. You can see like fashion at the moment. It's just everything's very tie-dye and ravey, and it's just everything's interlinked, and it is I don't want to say it's a phase, but there has to be something coming from the people in our industries that actually progresses and moves forward.